Status on Iranian movements. Reroute drones to Sector 4. Now. Prepare for extraction.
Tonight, we are not discussing a proxy war, not a covert strike. Tonight, we examine a direct confrontation between two of the most powerful military forces in the Middle East. A conflict decades in the making. Missiles over cities, airstrikes across borders, global powers choosing sides. This is the story of how shadow warfare between Israel and Iran turned into open war, and why the consequences could shape the region for a generation. Let's begin. Explosions lit the night sky over Tehran. Air raid sirens echoed across Tel Aviv. What had once been a silent war of sabotage, cyber attacks, and proxy militias had transformed into a direct military confrontation between the State of Israel and the Islamic Republic of Iran. The roots of this rivalry trace back to 1979. After the Iranian Revolution, Tehran severed diplomatic recognition of Israel. The new leadership framed Israel as illegitimate and aligned itself with groups opposed to it. Over the decades, Iran expanded support for armed organizations such as Hezbollah in Lebanon and Hamas in Gaza. Israel, in turn, viewed Iran's expanding missile capabilities and nuclear development as an existential threat. For years, the confrontation remained indirect. Israeli airstrikes targeted Iranian positions in Syria. Cyber attacks were attributed to both sides. Scientists were assassinated. Ships were sabotaged in the Gulf. It was a shadow war, intense, constant, but undeclared. That changed in June 2025. Israel launched a coordinated air campaign, reportedly targeting Iranian nuclear facilities and missile infrastructure. Sites associated with Natanz and Arak were struck, along with strategic military installations. Iran responded with waves of ballistic missiles and drones aimed at Israeli territory. Cities including Tel Aviv and Haifa activated nationwide defense systems. Though interception systems reduced impact, the scale marked a new phase: direct state-to-state warfare. A ceasefire was brokered after nearly 2 weeks of intense confrontation. But the pause did not resolve the underlying tensions. In February 26, hostilities reignited. Israeli officials announced a preemptive strike, citing imminent threats tied to missile and nuclear development. Coordinated air operations targeted military infrastructure across Iranian territory. Explosions were reported in Tehran and other strategic locations. Israel declared a state of emergency. Reserves were mobilized. Civilian populations were placed on high alert. Iran retaliated again with missile launches toward Israeli territory and expanded its response through allied networks across the region. Global reaction was swift. The United States signaled support for Israel's right to defend itself while urging restraint. Russia condemned the strikes when warned of regional destabilization. European governments called for de-escalation. Oil markets fluctuated sharply as investors reacted to instability in one of the world's most strategically critical regions. Beyond strategy, the human cost grew. Families in Tel Aviv sheltered in reinforced rooms. Residents in Tehran navigated blackout conditions and emergency alerts. Hospitals prepared for mass casualty scenarios. Air defense systems became part of daily life. At the center of the conflict remain 3 strategic questions. Iran's nuclear ambitions, viewed by Israel as an unacceptable security risk. Second, regional influence. Iran's network of allied groups encircling Israeli borders. Deterrence and dominance. Israel's determination to maintain technological and military superiority. Both governments framed their actions as defensive. Both accused the other as escalation. And neither appears willing to concede core objectives. Diplomacy continues behind closed doors. But history shows that once direct war begins between regional powers, outcomes are unpredictable. And miscalculations can have global consequences. For now, the world watches. Because when two heavily armed states move from covert conflict to open warfare, the stakes extend far beyond their borders. Conflicts rarely erupt overnight. They build through rhetoric, through alliances, through retaliation. The Iran-Israel war is not just about missiles and airstrikes. It is about perception of threat. It is about deterrence. It is about power in one of the most volatile regions on Earth. And once escalation reaches this level, returning to stability becomes far more difficult than preventing war in the first place.